What's up, soccer fans? Welcome to the Soccer Brothers Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 3. I'm your host, Sal Qatar, and I'm joined by my brother, Nihal. How are you doing today, Nihal?
Well, certainly a lot better than last week, man. I was a little bit under the weather, but I'm happy to be back on the podcast.
And I am happy to be with you talking about actual soccer that's happened for the first time in how long?
2 years almost?
Yeah,
2 years. Well, a year and a half. It's been a year and a half. Real quickly.
Besides that one El Clasico.
Right, in December.
Review thing, yeah.
Real quickly, before we get into the soccer, I want to give a huge thank you to Arlie for allowing us to use their music on the show. Definitely go check out their new EP called Wait. It's really good. I know you like it too, so you should definitely go check that out. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Also, I do apologize about my audio. We had some technical difficulties in that I can't find my mic, so it's a throwback to Season 1, very early on in Season 1 when we were just using whatever we had at home. So
I'm still using a mic.
Yeah, so it might even be more noticeable with the discrepancy in audio quality.
Okay, well, yeah. Whatever, we're pushing through. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about two major European games that happened, and we're going to get into those. It's going to be Bayern Munich versus Borussia Mönchengladbach, and Liverpool versus Manchester City, which happened Sunday morning today at the time that we're recording this. But first, we're going to talk about some big news. As many of you may know, there are upcoming USMNT friendlies against Colombia and Peru. The roster was released a few weeks back, but recently, there's been some updates because Christian Pulisic and Tyler Adams sustained injuries over the weekend. Tyler Adams has had back spasms. Pulisic tore a calf muscle in Dortmund's win over Augsburg over the weekend. So, obviously, some major injuries, Nihal. Do you think this is going to make it less fun? Are you a little more worried about the chemistry or the cohesiveness of the team? What are your first thoughts?
So, also, Weston McKennie had to pull out due to a right abductor injury. So basically the three players that everyone was probably most looking forward to seeing won't be on the roster. I am looking forward to seeing John Brooks back in the team with Matt Miazga and Cameron Carter-Vickers. You know, Reggie Cannon from FC Dallas is an interesting youngster. We get to see more of Julian Green and Bobby Wood, who are having nice seasons over in Germany. Bobby Wood just coming off a brace this weekend. And then, of course, you have people like Tim Weah, Anthony Robinson, Josh Sargent, the youngsters, and Andrea Novakovic. The youngsters were all excited to see. Fafa Picault, if you remember, was playing in the second Bundesliga, but now he's playing with the Philadelphia Union. He was called up. I believe he replaced either Pulisic or Adams. I forgot which one he replaced, but it'll be interesting to see if he gets into the team. And then finally, I know I'm basically naming the whole roster here, but Kenny Saif, we haven't seen him since his injury prior to the Gold Cup, or was it during the Gold Cup? Yeah, during the Gold Cup. Oh no, after the Gold Cup, right? He had an injury. He played in the Gold Cup, and then he had an injury. He played in the 2017 Gold Cup, and he had an injury. So we haven't seen him in quite some time. And I think he actually could be, really good for the team. We don't really have many left-footed playmakers, and he sort of fits that role, even though he does play on the outside of midfield. And then the young 19-year-old speedster playing in Denmark, Jonathan Amann, who's had a very good season. Also extremely excited to see him and see what he can do. He's a true winger, which, we don't really have on the roster. I guess Christian Pulisic, is the closest thing. He is a winger, but we tend to deploy him in central midfield. So Jonathan Amann, really excited to see him. Was surprised Romain Gall didn't get called up. He's having a nice season for Malmo in Sweden. That being said, can we hire a manager? Is that something we can do? Maybe Jose Mourinho?
Dude, I think that it's not going to be Jose Mourinho. You know who it's going to be. It's a man who you've worked very close with in the past.
Yeah, I was walking out of the office one day with my friend, my coworker Ian, and there was no one else there. After the games, Ian and I used to drop off a bunch of the bibs and the walkie-talkies back in the main office while people were still working in the press box. We'd be one of the last people to leave. And we're walking out of the office, and we just hear a voice saying, have a good night, guys. And it was Greg Berhalter. So, also, fun fact, Greg Berhalter, I was trying to get Eintracht Frankfurt to take their team photo. I was trying to get Timmy Chandler's attention. And I was apparently in Greg Berhalter's way, so he pushed me out of the way on the sideline. So.
Oh, right. I went to that game. I remember seeing you on the field. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so those are the two interactions I had with Greg Berhalter. And honestly, once that happens, we'll talk more about it. I
want to hear. Obviously, you watched every single home game for an entire year. So,
yeah.
I kind of want to hear your thoughts. Do you think that? I know a lot of people are down on it. It's not an exciting hire by any means. It's not something so out of the box. But do you think that he was, tactically apt? I guess.
Yeah. Well, so the thing with Crew SC is, you're not going to get big name DPs. We did have Federico Higuain and still do, and we were able to get Pedro Santos. And then we had some nice players in Ethan Finley for about half the season, Kakuta Mane, Justin Miram, who's now back, Will Trapp and Artur in midfield. So, there's some really good players there, but and Zach Steffen, of course, at the back. The thing about Crew SC was they were very committed to the system and very, very tactically aware. Greg Berhalter made adjustments. He tinkered with formations. And the main thing that he did, basically his MO was playing possession, playing it out of the back, and keeping the ball on the ground as much as possible, and getting it into your playmakers' feet like Miram, Higuain, and Santos. And honestly, those players would interchange. It was a pretty flowing three behind the striker Ola Kamara when he was there. So, he gives his attacking players a lot of freedom, but he also demands some defensive work from those players as well. And I would have no problem with Greg Berhalter being the manager. He'd probably be my second choice of MLS managers behind Tata Martino. But Ernie Stewart, the U.S. Soccer GM, said that he wanted someone who spoke English as his first language, basically. That's basically what they said. So
yeah, I don't know about that, but.
Right, but
but it's still not a hire that you'd be excited about, though.
Well, it's not one that I'm going to be doing backflips over, but I certainly think that it's a better move than Jurgen Klinsmann. I think it's I think he'll be better than Bruce Arena, and much better than someone like Greg Vanney or Peter Vermees, in my opinion. I think of the MLS managers, Greg Berhalter is a good choice. He has some international experience, and like I said, he's had to do more with less in Columbus. So they're consistent, except for the one down year after they made MLS Cup. They've consistently been at the top or near the top of the East, and especially with all the stuff going on with Crew SC right now, it seems like something that is very likely to happen. And then, if Precourt ends up getting his move, Austin, I guess, can hire a new manager, and Greg Berhalter can come right into the U.S. men's national team setup. And he's a former player. I don't know if we ever had a former player, U.S. men's national team player, manage the team. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think that's happened. And maybe that's some valuable experience that he has, some valuable experience he can pass on.
Right.
But he's not even hired yet. We spent a lot of time on this.
Yeah. I will say though, I just don't really agree with the philosophy that they need to have English as their first language.
Well, so here's the thing. That's not really what was said. It was said that they need to be proficient in English, which I understand. But practically, it makes sense.
It's not like European is one language that every international manager speaks, right? Some of the most successful coaches in Europe aren't from the country that they coach. And
no, I agree. But
there are good managers right now.
When you have far less time with your players, I think it's important to be able to get your point across. And Jurgen Klinsmann was kind of a great situation because he spoke German and English, which, is a huge chunk of our team.
Right.
Or it's basically all of our team. And I think a lot of the Hispanic guys know English. And even if they didn't, like, obviously it shouldn't matter. You know, it doesn't, you shouldn't have to speak English to be a part of the U.S. national team in any way, in my opinion. But I mean, I get it. I think part of it was maybe Ernie Stewart putting that out there, so he has a criteria that Greg Berhalter meets, as opposed to someone like Tata Martino, so people couldn't get as angry.
Right.
But, you know, I don't know. That's just pure speculation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a decent roster. I mean, like you said, there weren't too many players that I would have wanted on it that didn't make it. I think that Brad Guzan, he deserves the call up. Like, I mean, he's had a solid season for Atlanta United, but I mean, that's not like a name that jumps off the paper. But like, I think that's the only name that is just reeks of like old USMNT. You know what I mean? I mean Michael Bradley, obviously, but
yeah.
I think that, I mean, he's just too talented and versatile a player to completely give up on. And I think that, I mean, yeah, he was the scapegoat for a lot of USMNT fans in the past, but
right.
he can have a place in this team. He doesn't need to be the superstar anymore, though. And I think that'd be good for him.
I absolutely think he could have a place in this team in a midfield with Adams and McKennie, although I would rather see someone like Darlington Nagbe in there or Christian Pulisic if we're going to play him in the middle. The one thing I will say that I forgot to mention about Greg Berhalter is he likes to have that Will Trapp type of player. So unfortunately, we might be seeing a lot more of Will Trapp, who I think is a decent player. I just don't think he's international quality, which we saw in the last friendlies. I think he's a good backup and a good leader, but
I think we should we should come up with a term for players who are overrated because of their loyalty.
Teacher's pet, coach's pet. I mean,
not loyalty necessarily to the coach, but to the club.
Oh,
and the city.
Do you think Will Trapp is over? I mean, he's kind of the face of. I mean, he's from Columbus. He's a local.
You see him on the commercials. I mean, okay, look, like as a Roma fan, I mean, I feel like Alessandro Florenzi and Daniele De Rossi. Like, I mean, this is kind of different. It's just like but there's like this deep love for Roman homegrown players, which is fine. I mean, I honestly think that's pretty cool. Like to have like a kind of a backbone of players that won't leave, but at the same time, it's like, it doesn't, I feel like, they kind of get pretty cocky. It's kind of...
I don't know if I see Will Trapp as that. I just think that his skill set kind of fits into what Greg Berhalter wants from that position. He's not flashy. He doesn't get forward. Well, he does get forward sometimes, but he doesn't get forward often. He's good at organizing the defense. He's vocal back there.
Right. I mean, I think I'm just more so disappointed because I expected him to be better by now at this point in the trajectory of his career than he is.
Well, yeah, but that's pretty much every player.
Okay, that's not true.
I mean, sure, whatever you say.
Yeah, maybe that is most players. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are some guys. There are some guys at the last World Cup that, weren't as good in their youth as they and then they kind of became like veterans and they became like solid like.
I mean, unfortunately we didn't qualify for the World Cup, so how solid were they?
No, I'm talking about like at the 2014 World Cup.
You mean like Yedlin? I mean, yeah, but we were all excited about.
No, like I mean, so like Beckerman. Okay, whatever. Like he's not a great player, but like he played a solid role, and like that was he was like an older player.
Okay.
Who like.
I see what you're saying.
Just kind of came around, like.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean,
I know Will Trapp's not that old yet, but.
He's not near that old. He's like 24.
So maybe he will have a second coming, like some of those guys did. I don't know.
You want another Kyle Beckerman?
No, I don't want another Kyle Beckerman. I just think that he's a player who was always struggled to get into the pool, and then he just kind of found his spot.
I'll say if Will Trapp is starting for the U.S. men's national team at the 2022 World Cup, I will be very disappointed.
This is true.
All right.
I mean, do you think that like an Acosta, Adams, McKennie midfield wouldn't work?
that's what I'm saying. That's why I would much rather see that. I would much rather see Nagby or Pulisic in there.
That's true.
I would rather see Michael Bradley in there in 4 years than Will Trapp. I think Michael Bradley is a better player. So, and then there's players like Keaton Parks, players we don't even know about yet. Will Trapp, he's solid. I think I don't mind having him on the roster. I think he's a good backup. I just don't think he's starting quality for the U.S. men's national team. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right, do you want to get to the European soccer? We've been talking about this for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I want to say I've been trying to switch gears for the past like 5 minutes. You're the one who wanted to keep this short, but
no, yeah, we were in our production meeting and I did not really want to talk about the roster.
You mean our FaceTime call before we started recording?
Yeah. I did not want to talk about the USMNT roster in length, but. I just got into it, and maybe that's one of the reasons I didn't want to do it. Maybe
that's true.
I thought we would go on too long.
Well, so we'll talk about the games. We'll probably have an episode after each game. Well, you'll be back here, so bring your mic.
Well, no, if you want to. Okay, this is just real. I don't know if this breaks podcast etiquette, but if you want to record on Thursday night, I'll still be here because I'm flying in Friday morning.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we can record twice.
You're breaking the third wall. Are there four walls? Are there 4 walls in the audio medium?
I don't know.
Okay, what is happening? We're going off the rails here.
All right,
but
yeah,
no, this is why you listen to us, right? This is why we
right. We're not your 50-year-old MLS.com writers, soccer writers. You know what I mean?
I have a bone to pick. Can I just go off on a Nihal tangent here?
Dude, go ahead.
Quickly. I have a bone to pick with the internet. There's been a certain trend, attacking people for starting podcasts. I just want to say, I feel like we were a little bit ahead of the curve with this whole starting podcast thing. But that being said, it still hurts, okay? We're just 2 guys talking about something we love, not trying to make a living, although we've been mildly successful, more successful than I guess we probably thought we would have been.
At least as quickly.
I don't even know where we are at this point in the podcast. Like, we might just have 1 listener for all I know. But if you listen, please reach out to us on Twitter. It would be great to hear from you guys.
Or email us or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, come on, internet. Why are we crapping on people for?
And honestly,
doing what they want?
I think the authenticity of a podcast versus like watching like NFL Live or something like that is the beauty of it. And I think like just the fact that I can listen to like regular people talk like regular people in this kind of medium is the beauty of it. So I like that, guys our age are starting podcasts or.
Yeah, I will say I think soccer. I think podcasts are great for sports and news. There are definitely a lot of weird podcasts that I've seen that are just kind of like. Well, one of our friends, Richie, had a podcast where he rated sauces.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? You would never.
Nothing. No, there's nothing wrong with it.
Good.
It's awesome. Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. So it's just kind of funny. So yeah, to all the people out there giving people crap for starting a podcast, I'm all for the internet memes and the jokes, but it's still hurtful. It's still hurtful. I got a tweet shared with me from my good friend Katie, and it was basically one of those things that was like, I guess I'm in my late 20s now. I better start a podcast, and it cut deep. It was too real.
Okay, you were like 19 when you started this podcast.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's not even true.
Which is kind of crazy, actually, thinking about that.
Yeah, you were young. You were young. Go back and listen to our first episode and listen to Sahil's voice and see how much it changed.
Oh, yeah. I also probably sounded really nervous and shaky, too.
The podcast was just way worse back then.
It would take me... Okay, how many times, would it take me to do the intro, like on a podcast?
Okay, but see, the problem is we had those intros, like, written.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's true.
So it would take you like 17
Okay.
picks.
Can we talk about the can we be what the title says we are?
Okay, all right.
Okay,
We're not the philosophical brothers. I feel the neurotic brothers. I feel like that's what we are.
That's
More
for
so
another
than
day.
silence.
That's for another day.
Another podcast. Save it for the philosophy podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, it'll probably come to this where they're like premium podcasts or like light podcasts, and like, you know what I mean? Where like, if you want like exclusive philosophical Soccer Brothers content, subscribe. Like, this is just like the preview.
I mean, we can already do that. We just choose not to.
Well, on a streaming medium, can you charge a podcast?
No, but we could do it. I mean, not through SoundCloud or iTunes. But
Gotcha.
Yeah, we could do it on our website, which.
Okay. Let's save this for the production meeting. The FaceTime meeting, the FaceTime call before the next podcast.
Yeah, you have class in the morning. We should get going.
Okay, so on Saturday morning, Bayern Munich took on Borussia Mönchengladbach. Bayern Munich was coming off a pretty bad run of form. They hadn't won a game since September the 22nd. Niko Kovac was on a bit of a hot seat, but he could definitely redeem himself in this game. Borussia Mönchengladbach is a team that has a terrible, terrible away record. They've won one away game in their last 14, and their last one was at Hanover in February. So going into this game, you know, we picked it because, you know, it's two teams kind of at the high end of the table. Wanted to watch a little Bayern Munich, but it definitely didn't go the way that we thought it would. Do you want to go over the goals first, and then we can jump into the tactics and stuff?
Yeah, why don't you do that? Okay,
so in the 10th minute, so this is the first shot for Borussia Mönchengladbach. So
and it's. I mean, it was kind of against the run of play too. You know, Bayern had a couple of chances early on there that, you know, one I believe was Müller was offside.
Right, great save by Jan Sommer.
Yeah. Jan Sommer is a great goalkeeper, by the way. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah, and then there was another. I know James had a good delivery before that, and it was kind of a mess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Bayern was on the front foot even after the first goal. But let's get to the first goal first. Alessandro Plea had a great goal. Plea and Jan Hoffmann just had a simple 1-2. Plea received it back from him, and it was just a beautiful curling shot to the far right corner from the Frenchman. Neuer had no chance. That was his 5th league goal. Just a beautiful shot, Nihal, right?
Yeah, and you know, Hoffmann really showed up everywhere on the pitch today. You know, he plays in the central midfield, but you know, he's a player. He's a really good player. And you know, looking at this is sort of going off there, but going off on a tangent again here. But looking at the Bayern Mönchengladbach roster, it's full of a lot of exciting players that, you know, we know about that you might not realize were there. Oscar Wendt, Hoffmann, Lars Stindl, Kramer, Thorgan Hazard, Jan Sommer, Ginter. Players that have been in and around the German national team and their respective national teams. You know, so it's a good team. It's a good 11.
Oh, definitely. I think, you know, they've kind of just been underachieving in the recent years. Like, this team definitely has a lot of talent, but they just haven't been able to put the pieces together. But I don't know. It looks like it could be turning around.
Yeah.
And then, so then in the second goal, just 6 minutes later, Jonas Hoffmann plays a long ball over the top to Plea again. It's too far, and it goes out for a goal kick. So Neuer, as he does, just tries to get play going as quickly as possible. But either Thiago Alcantara isn't paying attention or isn't ready or something. So he's just not ready for Neuer to start back up the play, and he touches it right to Fabian Stindl. Stindl cuts onto his right foot and puts it far left past Neuer. Bayern's down 2-0 in the 16th minute.
Well, I think it's one of those things where you're playing out of the back and you're trying to take a little touch forward on the inside of your foot, so the field opens up for you. You know, I don't know if you remember Phil Jagielka doing this against Wolverhampton in the first game of the season, where he was trying to play out of the back. He takes the touch and it just gets a little bit in front of him, and then, you know, you're screwed, and Stindl's in on goal. So I think it was. I think it was just a bad touch. I think he was just let down by his touch, to be honest. That's what it looked like to me.
And I think this was kind of indicative of the Mönchengladbach approach for much of the game. I think even though obviously they were sitting back for a lot of the time. They still pressured a lot of the ball carriers, particularly on the wings with Ribery and Gnabry in the second half. So, I mean, it was a safe approach for most of the game, but it was a smart one too.
Man, you've been watching too much football. Ball carriers? Really?
My bad. Ball carrier.
Save it for the football podcast.
Yeah, sorry. That's American football.
Yes, American football.
All right. In the second half, unfortunately, this is not a goal, but it's a big event. David Alaba got injured in the 55th minute. He looked to have a hamstring injury. We hope he's all right. Renato Sanchez came on for him. Now, that was after a pair of substitutions at halftime, in which Franck Ribéry and Serge Gnabry came on. So we'll talk a little bit more about the tactical implications of that, but I'll get to the third goal first. Patrick Herrmann in the 88th minute. Gladbach finally puts away the game. Christoph Kramer receives the ball off a corner, plays it into the box to Patrick Herrmann. Big mistake by Leon Goretzka missing the header while he was marking Herrmann. And a bad effort by Hummels after Herrmann initially touched the ball, but Herrmann's able to settle the ball well and put it in the back of the net.
Absolutely. And, we were just talking about Will Trapp, and Christoph Kramer is exactly what I would want Will Trapp to be. He's really good back there in that number 6 role, and he's really good at distributing the ball, as you can see on this goal here.
For sure. I think that took me by surprise. It wasn't your kind of standard short corner or a regular corner. It was just kind of a trailing run on the edge of the box. So really good set play by Borussia Mönchengladbach there.
Absolutely.
So obviously this game, Bayern Munich are going to have more I mean, I don't know the specific stats, but they're going to have more shots. They're going to have more possession. But I mean, obviously Borussia Mönchengladbach knew their talent. They knew who they had on the pitch, and I think they might have honestly tactically outclassed Bayern for much of the game.
I would agree with that. I think one of the biggest fallacies people see is they'll look at the possession stats, they'll look at the shots, and they'll think, okay, that team dominated, they deserve to win. Fortunately, this is not FIFA where, that just means you outplayed the other team. And you're right, Mönchengladbach were prepared. They came in with a game plan, and they executed it perfectly. And on top of that, they capitalized on Bayern Munich's mistakes, and they made more mistakes than usual. Their defense has kind of been, I don't want to say in shambles, but they haven't really been up to snuff recently, and it's a big reason why Kovac's team is struggling right now.
I think this game was so fascinating because you could physically see in some of the touches that the pressure. This is kind of this is a tipping point. Obviously they haven't had a great run of form, but you could see the players visibly frustrated after every foul. Touches were bad. Players looked nervous, out of shape. It was a game that we could be remembering down the line if Kovac is fired.
Absolutely. And, there really is Jerome Boateng injured?
I'm not sure, honestly, but yes, he did not feature in this game.
Well, because I know that he had the whole drama where he might have left the club. I don't remember seeing that he was injured anywhere. But yeah, I'm a fan of Niklas Süle, but he's no Jerome Boateng. And I think that even though I wouldn't say any of the goals were really Süle's fault today, or yet I guess 2 days ago. He is not Jerome Boateng. So I think they do miss him.
Absolutely.
And the other thing I want to say, well, there's a couple of things. First, I don't think Thiago Alcantara. Well, it's not that I don't think he's not a number 6. He's not. The Bayern was playing a 4-1-4-1 essentially, and Thiago Alcantara was playing as sort of that lone pivot behind the 4 in the midfield. And I don't think that's using his abilities to the fullest. I think he's more comfortable closer to the 18. He's more comfortable with players around him so he can play some quick passes. But, defensively, he's not good enough to be in that role. And when, it showed today, he can maybe manage there when Bayern is completely dominating a lesser opponent. But in a match like this where you're playing a talented opposition, it's not going to work. And that was evident today. He was by himself. He was on an island.
I mean, yeah, and obviously that touch, he was in between the center backs on that touch that led to that Fabian Stindl goal. So
right. I mean, I think that's more,
concentration. I mean, that's not necessarily a tactical thing, but at the same time,
Well, and the way the match started, when you have, the players you have in front of Thiago Alcantara, those are attacking players. So he's not going to have that much help defensively.
No, absolutely. So I kind of want to outline the changes that were made in the second half. So right at halftime, Kovac brought off Iron Robin and Thomas Mueller, which I thought, I didn't really like that. I mean, Robin and Mueller did have their fair share of chances in the first half, but and I mean, I think Robin is, even with his age getting up there, still one of the most dynamic players in this entire team, and Mueller obviously has one of the best positional senses in the entire world. So
see, I think taking Robin off was the right decision. I think he's really lost it. I think he's really lost a step. I'm not saying he can't be, he can't contribute at all, but I think Serge Gnabry is a player that should be seeing more time on the pitch for Bayern Munich. He's pacier, he's direct, and Robin's game is a little. He's made it work for 16, 15 years, but his game's a little bit too predictable in my opinion. At this point in his career, where he doesn't have the pace to just completely shred players. He's still a great player. Like there's no doubting that. I do agree with you, Thomas Mueller. I don't think that Kovac deployed Mueller in correctly today. When we saw Bayern being successful early in the season, it was Mueller and Lewandowski playing off of each other up top, and they were nowhere near each other in this game. And I think, or in the first half, because Mueller came off. So I think they really need to get those two up top together, and that's where the magic happens between those two.
Absolutely, I definitely think there was a disconnect, and yeah, I mean, I can see that point about Robin. I thought he had a few threatening moments, but there were moments where you feel like he would have scored, or he would have made the perfect cross if he was, a younger version of himself. But
it's not only him declining. I'm a fan of Serge Gnabry. I think he should be playing more.
I agree. I agree with that. I mean, yeah. I think that overall the shape that they took in the second half favored a few players. So we saw Goretzka started the game as a midfielder, but he moved to fullback because of Alaba's injury, which and then obviously Ribéry and Gnabry are two wide players, so they slotted in on outside, and then James moved from outside into the center of the midfield along with Sanchez and Thiago. So
right, and I think that was the right decision. I think James Rodriguez is much more effective in the midfield, much more effective where he can sort of pull the strings and where he can play off of Thomas Mueller and Robert Lewandowski rather than just being isolated on the wing.
And I think it was better for Goretzka too. He was pretty invisible in the first half. I thought his overlapping runs were a little better over Gnabry. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, is there anything else tactically you want to talk about here? One thing I noticed was how frustrated Bayern Munich got, and how, I think it really affected the way they play. You saw Frank Ribéry get into the face of the referee after, as he was being awarded a yellow card. And I was surprised he didn't get a red card. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, he was hot. Yeah.
And there was a lot of offside calls on the Bayern Munich team, a lot of fouls called against them. I think I
remember after. Do you remember that moment where Ribéry crossed it and then James went for an overhead kick?
Yes, yeah.
I remember even Ribéry and maybe a few other players getting a little frustrated at that, which I don't even know was a bad decision by James, but really James should have actually. Okay, it was a bad decision. It wasn't a bad effort, but he should have left it for Gnabry, who was behind him. But there was definitely just it's one of those things where Borussia Mönchengladbach was just frustrating to the point where they kind of were pitted against each other.
Absolutely, and this was a big match. Coming into it, Bayern were in the top four. They were 2 points ahead of Mönchengladbach. Mönchengladbach on 11, Bayern on 13, and now Bayern has fallen to 5th for the first time in like 7 or 8 years, I think.
Wow.
So it's really disappointing for them, and they were overtaken. Yeah, so the last time Bayern Munich was in 5th place after 7 matches was in 2010. And you know who the manager was? Louis van Gaal.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so Mönchengladbach's in 2nd place, but the Bayern Munich they're only 4 points off Borussia Dortmund in 1st place. I think whoever the manager is, they'll bring it together and they'll end up winning the league. But it is exciting to have so much intrigue. Usually at this point, Bayern Munich is starting to pull away with the league. But now we have some excitement there. And some interesting teams in the top 4. Dortmund, Gladbach, Werder Bremen, Josh Sargent's Werder Bremen, and Hertha Berlin are all in front of Bayern Munich. That move for John Brooks, side note, is looking just worse and worse from Hertha to Wolfsburg. Even though Wolfsburg are in 8th place.
But obviously like fitness and a variety of things have played into his specific storyline, but
Right.
I agree with you. But I'm just glad the Bundesliga exists in terms of Americans because it's helped a lot of us out.
Yeah, it has. Any final thoughts on this match?
So I think if this implosion was to happen, it's good that it happens now, as you said. I think Bayern can rebound from this, and I think they don't have a tough Champions League group at all. I know they have Ajax, who they drew midweek, and then they have Athens. I forgot the 4th team, but they have one of the easier groups that they should be able to take care of. But it's better that if they're in shambles, that it's now when they're in this part of the Champions League rather than later on, and they can make up for these lost points. So
yeah, let's say relative shambles. 5th place, 4 points off the league lead. Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
But everything's relative, right? It's if you're a Bayern fan, you're in shambles. You think you're in shambles.
Yeah, I agree.
And obviously, it's unacceptable not to win the league. So, but honestly, do you think Dortmund's got a shot?
They're playing extremely well. Their goal differential is 15, which is by far the most in the league right now. So,
Sancho, man, he killed it. He killed it.
Yeah, he's great.
Sancho.
I can't comment too much on them because I haven't watched them this year, which is surprising because like 2 years ago, every time Pulisic was on the field, I was watching. But I haven't really watched them this year, so it seems like they're playing well. I think they have a shot. I think it depends on Bayern Munich, and if they're able to turn it around. When they play, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely, yeah. So overall, in terms of entertainment value, I think it was a decent. I think it was just pretty fascinating overall because it's that point where it's starting to just really get over the tipping point for Bayern, and it was kind of cool to see them just kind of imploding. But,
when you saw when Borussia Mönchengladbach scored the first goal, you were like, okay, they did this last year and they ended up losing 5-1.
Right.
So you thought Bayern Munich was going to respond in the same way, but the mistakes were just too much, and Jan, we touched on it earlier, but Jan Sommer is such a good goalkeeper, and he didn't have too many miraculous saves, but honestly, making easy saves is about positioning as well, which I think people forget. So Switzerland has a couple of great goalkeepers, and he's the best one they have. He's excellent. He's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that that attack too. Obviously it didn't get forward very many times, but Playa just looked explosive every time he was on the ball, and he's one of the top leading scorers right now in the Bundesliga. He had a great season for Nice last year, so he was very exciting to watch. I didn't get to watch him much on Nice, so it was really, really cool to see him.
Yeah, no, definitely. where did these guys come from, man? How? It's hard to comprehend. He's French, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how they have so many good players. It's kind of ridiculous.
I don't know, man.
And the thing is, this guy's not even going to sniff the national team. He's not going to get anywhere near the national team. So
That's true.
He's 25. But yeah, he was excellent. And Lars Stindl, he's a player both you and I have liked for quite a while, and he also had a great game in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought Thorgan Hazard, honestly, of that front three was the most disappointing. I mean, maybe...
He was underwhelming.
I think, like, it's impossible for me to separate him from his brother just a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's understandable.
I'm expecting good things out of it, but... Yeah.
I mean, I don't really get why he keeps... I mean, just by watching this game, he keeps Erman off the field. But, I mean, he's obviously a very talented player. So, but that finish by Erman, you asked me about it, but I forgot to really talk about it. That finish was excellent.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, yeah, and just like that, they were given only a few corners throughout the game, but they just took advantage of it. So, obviously we talked about Bayern's implosion for much of the game, but all credit to Borussia Mönchengladbach. I'm glad they can. That is definitely a morale booster, winning that big on the road against one of the best teams in Europe. So
definitely.
We'll see where that goes with their season. But moving on to today's game, or today at the time of our recording, Sunday morning, Liverpool versus Manchester City. They played at 10:30 Eastern time. Man City coming off that win versus Brighton last weekend. Liverpool coming off that draw, saved by Daniel Sturridge in the 88th minute versus Chelsea. Both teams looking to cement themselves as number one in the Premier League. But it ended up in a 0-0 draw. We didn't see any goals in this one, but there was a lot that happened, right, Nihal?
Yeah, I mean, it was an exciting and interesting tactical affair, as you would expect, between two of the top managers in the world, Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp. So, the way it played out was very interesting, if you want to get into it more.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the first thing I noticed is from the beginning of the game is that Liverpool really employed the Gangnam press that we saw from Jurgen Klopp, like in his Borussia Dortmund days or early on in Liverpool. I think it was just a full-on press for the first 15 minutes. Chelsea could barely get it out of the back without it getting stolen
City.
Or being pressured. What'd you say? Sorry.
City.
Sorry, City. Yeah.
Yeah.
And. I think that part of the reason they were less confident doing that against Chelsea is that Chelsea is just so able to punish, any kind of pressure in one or two passes with midfielders like Jorginho and Kanté. And I think, no disrespect to Bernardo Silva or Fernandinho, or David Silva, but I think that that's one of the reasons that they felt a little more confident because, this City team is not a team that just simply plays long balls forward. It's a lot of dribbling.
Right.
It's a lot of quick passing. So I think that was a good decision by Klopp initially.
Right, and you just feel like you mentioning Fernandinho and Bernardo Silva and David Silva. I think you feel like if they had Kevin De Bruyne in this match,
yeah.
he would have made the difference. Cause
I really do.
He's one of those players that can do that.
No, there were so many, and you see the formation. It's listed as a 4-2-3-1, but really, I don't think David Silva was imposing and linking the midfield and attack in this game. I mean, David Silva is a world-class player, obviously a seasoned veteran, but I don't think he had the same counter-attacking presence that a guy like Kevin De Bruyne would have had at all in this game, and I think that definitely could have been the difference.
Yeah, and. One of the interesting changes we saw from midweek was Joe Gomez actually moving to fullback.
Yes.
And Dan Lovren coming in. And we didn't see Trent Alexander-Arnold, who, from what I heard, I didn't get to watch him play, did not have a good match against Napoli in the Champions League. So, I thought Gomez played well, but he obviously had that huge mistake that almost led to a Man City goal where he sort of kicked it backwards back into the box.
Yeah, I did watch that Napoli game. Yeah, Alexander-Arnold was kind of getting torched. He also was at fault for one of the goals last week versus Chelsea. So I actually like Alexander-Arnold, but I think overall that change went over really well.
Yeah.
As long as we're talking about Lovren and kind of the beginning of the game, what did you think about that 21st minute? I thought the commentators kind of glossed over that, but
I thought it was a penalty.
yeah, no, I thought this was a penalty too. Just because Aguero didn't react and start complaining doesn't mean it wasn't a penalty.
No, he didn't get any. It didn't seem like he got any of the ball there, and I mean, maybe he was going away from goal, but it's still a penalty. Maybe not. It's not a red card, but it was. In my opinion, it was definitely a penalty. So
I agree. I think the commentators were saying like, oh, clearly Aguero wasn't complaining, so I mean it's not even a penalty. But I mean, if you look at Lovren's reaction, he looked like he just conceded a penalty. He started turning around and complaining before there was even a call.
Right. Well, and something between the Bayern Munich match we just talked about and this match is the presence of VAR, which could have made a difference. You know, in the Bayern Munich match, there was a goal. It wasn't disallowed, but the offside was upheld because of VAR for Bayern Munich.
Right. Also, the Patrick Ehrmann was ruled not a handball.
Oh, maybe that's what I was thinking. No, maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Right.
But yeah, so they went to VAR. You know, the Premier League doesn't have that option here, unfortunately. But there was no doubt in my mind that was a penalty. Just as much, if not more so than the second one. Well, just as much. They were both penalties.
Yeah. Shortly after that, in the 29th minute, James Milner's injury forced him to come off for Naby Keita. I didn't think Keita was bad necessarily, but I mean, it's hard to say that Milner wouldn't have influenced this game as well.
Yeah, you know, Milner is one of their more solid players, and Keita's been a little bit not knocked up. Jeez. Yeah, he's been carrying some injuries too. That would prevent him from playing from his absolute best that we saw at Leipzig. So, you know, I mean, Keita was all right, but he was not as imposing as you would like him to be.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, can we talk about Liverpool's front three for a second? You know, I think people are making a big deal about Mo Salah this year. I mean, he has 3 goals in 8 matches. Like that's not bad. That's actually pretty dang good. That being said,
I don't think though he's as good this year. He's looked as good this year.
I think he's coming back down to earth a little bit because we saw it time and time again at Roma. I mean, you saw it more than anyone. You're a Roma fan. You watched every game. He gets into some fantastic positions, but the end product just isn't there. And last year, it seemed like every shot he took was destined for the net. And you just think that maybe he sort of comes back down to earth a little bit this year, and he's not going to convert those chances. He had a decent chance in the first half where Robertson, who, by the way, is a great left back, what a signing for them, sent in a great ball for Salah, an incredible touch by him, and he just put it over the bar. He couldn't even get it on frame. And, you know, Mane is sort of similar. He's not a clinical finisher. They're able to get into these great positions but unable to finish. And, you know, it just seems like that those two might not be where they were last year. Obviously, it's really early and it's one game. And, you know, I'm excited to watch more of Liverpool to see how those two in particular fare. But, you know, they don't seem as clinical as they were last year.
I definitely agree with that. I thought also in this game particularly, there wasn't that sense of fluidity or unpredictability by any of the runs. I think you just tended to see Mohamed Salah on the right side, Sadio Mane on the left side, Firmino in the center. Yeah.
So, you know, it almost seemed like Liverpool expected or were prepared for Manchester City to start with a back 5. But, you know, they did play, City did come out with that back 4. And what Pep Guardiola does better than anyone is crowding the midfield with his fullbacks. And, you know, it's really difficult to get past the midfield if you're playing against them. And, you know, that's why you saw that long ball from Robertson to Salah was one of the best chances of the match. It was a long ball from the defense to the forward. And that's not the best way to get those players involved in the attack, in my opinion. But, I mean, that being said, there was some great passages of play between that Liverpool front three, and you can see why they're one of, if not the best front three in England right now.
Absolutely. But I think players like Henderson and Milner, who just went a little more under the radar last year in terms of the headlines.
Henderson is not good. Milner, I'll give you. I like Milner.
Okay.
I don't think Henderson.
I think Henderson's the worst of Wijnaldum, Milner, and Henderson, but I don't think he's a bad player.
I mean, he's not bad. I just don't think he does really anything.
But he's also the center of that 4-3-3. He's not going to be as flashy.
He's a rich man's Will Trapp, in my opinion.
How many Will Trapp comparisons have you made today? Yeah, no, but that ball that you were talking about from Robertson to Salah, I mean that was definitely the biggest chance, and that's not what you want with a front three like this.
And I think I misspoke. I think it was in the second half, actually.
It was in the second half.
Yeah.
Yes. I think. Can we just talk about how far the Liverpool defense has come over the years?
Well, I mean, after the World Cup, Lovren went from a liability to one of the world's best defenders. I mean, the perception of him, at least.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think it showed in his form pretty much today too. He and Van Dijk were excellent, I thought.
Well, Van Dijk is just awesome.
He is awesome.
He is.
What's better than a center back with a man bun?
Not to go back to American football, but a great center back is like Van Dijk is like watching a great defensive lineman or outside linebacker play. Someone that's not a position where you necessarily are watching them every single time they're involved on every single play. But when you have players like J.J. Watt or Myles Garrett or Khalil Mack or Von Miller, your eyes are fixated on them. And that's how Virgil van Dijk is for me. He's so good at what he does and so smooth that I love watching him play. And I don't know how many center backs I can say that about. I don't know if that made sense, but
no, I mean it definitely does. It does, yeah. I mean, besides a key moment that we actually haven't touched on yet.
No, not really. Yeah.
He might have been my man of the match for Liverpool, honestly.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a good shout, except for the penalty we're about to talk about.
Yes. In the 86th minute, Virgil van Dijk brings down Leroy Sané in the counterattack. Good ball by, was it Bernardo Silva or David Silva? I just wrote down Silva in my notes.
I believe it was Bernardo Silva.
Okay, I think so too, yeah. Bernardo Silva played a really nice ball to Leroy Sané on the counterattack. Sané just gets dragged down by Van Dijk. It doesn't look like he gets any of the ball, and it's a penalty for Manchester City.
I mean, it was a clear penalty. There's nothing I can really say from him. He didn't get much of the ball. Sané's touch, I think, actually let him down a little bit and took him away from goal. But he was able to recover, and Van Dijk got between him and the ball.
Absolutely.
And he didn't need to. I don't think he needed to do that. I think he could have just, like I said, it wasn't a great touch. I think he could have just ushered him out of play, or at the very least given up a corner kick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think he almost made that decision prior to realizing the touch that Sané had made.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard because when Sané's coming at you, you don't have much time to think. I mean, he is rapid.
I thought that Leroy Sané, Raheem Sterling had a few moments, but I thought Sané, given that he only played for 15 minutes, was pretty threatening. And he caused, obviously, City's best chance of the game.
Yeah. I love Riyad Mahrez. I think I would go with Sterling and Sané. But,
and I know you're not saying that just because of this moment that we're about to talk about.
No, not at all.
So, what's interesting? It's actually Benjamin Mendy motioned Mahrez to go to the spot, but it looks like Gabriel Jesus was going to take the penalty initially, and Mahrez does not have a good penalty scoring record. I think it was kind of a confidence penalty to just give.
So he was 2 for 5 going into this.
Yeah. Mahrez was. Yeah.
Mahrez was. Yeah, now he's 2 for 6. And, I get it. You want to build confidence in Riyad Mahrez, but, I mean, when you're in a title race and it's the 85th minute and you're on the road at a team that you're level on points with, give it to your striker. Give it to your best penalty taker. Gabriel Jesus would be the one who I would, think would take it. But, Mahrez took it and he sailed it over the bar.
Yeah. I actually watched the Roma game too this weekend. So I watched 2 games and there were 2 penalties in those games. Both went over the bar. Empoli took Empoli took a penalty against Roma and it went over the bar. So that's very odd. But yeah, it was definitely a moment where you thought Manchester City was going to take all 3 points. You thought that Liverpool's defense had bailed them out for a second, but it ended up going over the bar, and you had to feel bad for Mahrez after that. He really, his facial expression was kind of heartbreaking, but in the end, I think this result was pretty fair. A 0-0 draw. I think that there weren't many chances.
I think there weren't many clear-cut chances. I do think City were slightly the better team, but...
Yeah, I think as the game grew on particularly,
Yeah, but I think it's a pretty fair result, and now we have a 3-way tie on top of the Premier League.
We do. Liverpool, Chelsea, and Manchester City are all tied in first with 20 points, and Arsenal and Tottenham are just behind them in 4th and 5th with 18 points.
Yeah, don't forget Bournemouth with 16. They're not too far out.
No, they are not.
Everton are only 8 points off the title.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to factor in that a lot of the top teams have played each other already.
Yeah.
So, that's not super realistic.
Champions League, though. Who knows?
Maybe. Did they lose over the weekend?
They won.
Okay, they won.
No, they won.
Okay, who did they beat?
Yeah. They beat Leicester.
Not bad.
You should go watch Gylfi Sigurdsson's goal. He made it 2-1 on the road. It was a magnificent goal.
All right. Is there anything else you want to say on that game?
No, it was obviously I was hoping for more goals, but I'm always down for a good 0-0 tactical slugfest.
Yeah. I mean, by 2 of the best managers, I think, in the game. I know Klopp gets a lot of heat, but I think he knows what he's doing, and he is part of the reason this attack works so well. I think. He
clearly knows what he's doing. This is the best Liverpool's look since the one season they challenged for the title.
13-14, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, since before that, when they had like Xabi Alonso and Fernando Torres and those guys. So, I mean, they have a real shot to win the league this year. This actually could be their year. I hope not, but it could be.
But you like Jurgen Klopp though.
I do. I like Liverpool's play. I love Mohamed. I was heartbroken when Mo Salah and Jurgen Klopp went to Liverpool. Because, those were like 2 of my favorite people in the game.
I was heartbroken when Salah barely got to play in the World Cup.
Yes, that sucked.
I definitely get you. They have a lot of likable players, for sure.
Yeah, except for Jordan Henderson. Jesus.
I didn't like Coutinho too much, so... before he left to Barcelona, but yeah, Jordan Henderson, they have 2 former Roma players, two blockbuster transfers over the past 2 summers. Alice,
I forgot. You started talking about how much better their defenses looked, and I forgot to mention their fullbacks are just so much better than they used to be. I mean, like 3 years ago, Alberto Moreno, was it last year even or 2 years ago? Alberto Moreno was starting in important matches for them. And now they have Robertson, who's just a fantastic player.
Absolutely.
And they have a goalkeeper now.
Yes.
So...
No offense to Karius, but...
There's really... Karius and Mignolet. There's not a weakness on this team.
No. I think, if Keita's coming off your bench, that's a pretty good sign, and...
Fabinho, where is Fabinho? Free Fabinho. He hasn't even has he played yet this year?
I think very little.
So,
It's interesting. Both teams only made 2 changes today. I was like trying to find the fifth and sixth change in total, but no, and they were pretty much 2 like for like changes. You had Gabriel Jesus coming on for Aguero. You had Leroy Sané coming on for Raheem Sterling, and then for Liverpool, you had Naby Keita coming on for the injured James Milner, and I am forgetting Sturridge coming on for Firmino.
Yeah. No, you're right. That is interesting. I didn't even think about that. And I mean, Liverpool really it was one change to change like how the match was going to go, because Milner got injured in the 26th minute. So that's interesting. That is something Liverpool is lacking, depth up front. I mean, they have Sturridge and they have Shaqiri.
I think depth in general, Manchester City just definitely edges them out.
More than edges them out.
Yeah,
I mean, Kevin De Bruyne didn't even play in this match. I mean, Leroy Sané came off the bench. Like
pick 2 out of Otamendi, Kompany, Laporte, and John Stones.
Yeah.
That any of those is a good combination every game. I think that's crazy. Like that you have that many quality center backs.
Right.
And the business they've done with their defense the past 2 to 3 years has been really, really impressive. I know Danilo is kind of disappointed, but other than that, I think.
So do you think these are the 2? Do you think anyone else has a chance?
I'm a believer in Maurizio Sarri and Chelsea. Honestly, I think that if it was to turn into a 2-horse race, I think that maybe Chelsea is kind of cemented into 3rd place by like January. But I mean, based on what I've seen, I think Chelsea outplayed Liverpool last week. I think Chelsea has won convincingly many times, and I'm in love with Jorginho.
Jorginho's amazing.
Yeah. He's an 82 in FIFA. What kind of bullshit is that?
Okay, we're not an explicit podcast.
Okay,
you're
talking. No.
No,
okay, let's go back to the records. I'm pretty sure you've cussed on this
today.
podcast.
No, I've been very good today.
Way more than I have.
I've stopped myself today.
Yeah, but no,
okay,
yeah. Well,
you know what?
Do you think Chelsea
when I went on that rant about CONCACAF and the Gold Cup with the Panama handball, that was deserved. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think the first rant you went on was when the U.S. didn't look good at the beginning of the USWNT didn't look good at the beginning of the 2015 Women's World Cup.
That was not my first rant.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was one of our first episodes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess it was. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was just.
It was
talking. I was criticizing Jill Ellis and saying she wasn't good enough to be the national coach.
And then we win handily in the final of that.
You can't be right 100% of the time, you know?
Yes, but you can be less wrong than just
go back to the tapes. Go back to our old YouTube channel. I call Christian Pulisic.
You also called Leicester City finishing in 20th place in the 2015-2016 season.
Okay, I mean,
I had them at 18th, so I
yeah, exactly. You had them going down.
No, but I remember getting into an argument on why they deserved to be in 18th. We were too caught up in the scandal, man.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but is there any? You don't think Chelsea is a legitimate contender?
No, I do. I was just. I mean, I think Arsenal and Tottenham are legitimate contenders too.
Let's slow down on that.
All right.
I think that they will. I think this will be actually how the table finishes out. Because isn't it City has the tiebreaker over Liverpool?
Liverpool's actually in 3rd place right now.
Oh, okay. So I think it'll be City
Chelsea's
1, City 1, Liverpool 2, Chelsea 3, Arsenal 4, Tottenham 5.
I think once we hit winter and there's Christmas and Boxing Day and all those matches in such a short period of time, City's depth is really going to show.
That's a good point.
And be a huge asset for them, and they're going to pull away during that time.
But another thing to consider is that Chelsea is not playing in the Champions League.
That's true.
So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. I think that this year in particular, it is I know people always like to say, like, oh, like the Premier League is the most exciting. You never know who's going to win.
Not.
Okay.
I mean, that might be true. That's true from year to year, but during the year, it's not that exciting.
Right. Like, I feel like usually 7 or 8 matches in, it's not as close as it is right now. So, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how it plays out. And, so we have the international break coming up, which is everyone's favorite time of the season. And, as we said before, we should have those reviews of Colombia and Peru coming up, the USMNT friendlies. Really excited to talk about that. Really excited to go
We also got to talk some USWNT. They're in World Cup qualifying right now.
That is also true. We'll be talking about that.
They just destroyed Panama. Also, huge shout out to my friend Nichelle Prince for scoring a goal for the Houston Dash. That was awesome.
That's really cool.
She'll be.
Oh,
on
and
the
I don't
podcast.
think we did. You shout out our graphic designer?
I did last time, but I will do it again. Huge shout out to Kat Dranchak for creating our new logo, which looks awesome. Definitely check it out in the description. Check out her stuff. She's great. She's currently working on a logo for Elevation Capital, a new and upcoming trust fund. So, she's making the big time now.
Absolutely. Did you see Kylian Mbappe scored 4 goals in 13 minutes?
I was going to mention. I was actually just about to bring that up. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
It might have been the most boring super hat trick I've ever watched. I mean, I watched the highlights of it only. None of the goals were spectacular.
That's when Robert Lewandowski scored 5 goals in 9 minutes. That was awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean I think that edged it out. But did you see the highlights of those goals Mbappe scored?
Yeah, no, you're right. They were not
just
bad.
like a lot of them were like deflected and like.
So if you right now, who would you take, Mbappe or Neymar?
Like if I'm starting a franchise or like a club, I guess.
Yeah, like if you had the option of taking one of those 2 players.
I take Mbappe. I mean, I take Mbappe and Hazard over Neymar. I mean, if we're just kind of. I mean, I think Hazard's probably 2 years older than Neymar or something like that, but 2 or 3 years older. But I think if I want like the best winger in the world that's like not named Messi, then I'll take Hazard. But if I'm taking like a young and up and comer, I'll take Mbappe.
Interesting. I mean, I think I'd agree with you, but it's weird it's funny how Neymar left Barcelona to be his own star, and then all of a sudden here comes Kylian Mbappe and sort of overtakes Neymar at PSG of all places. So
right.
I wouldn't be surprised if Neymar makes the move to Real Madrid.
Oh boy, Neymar versus Messi. I think that'll kind of revitalize El Clasico, which by the way is coming up the first weekend after the international break.
Does El Clasico need revitalization?
Yeah, because Ronaldo left.
Okay, maybe to you.
What? I mean. Okay, yeah. No, not to me. I think that like that was literally in every graphic of El Clasico for the past like 10 years.
Yeah, well,
Ronaldo versus Messi.
Let's not talk about Ronaldo.
Okay, yeah. Good thing we didn't talk about Juve winning. Juve and PSG both off to perfect starts, by the way.
I thought you were about to say good thing we didn't talk about Kavanaugh. I was like, what?
No. But, by the way, vote, register to vote. If you haven't already.
If you're still listening and you haven't registered to vote.
Yeah, I mean you only have a few more days to do it, so definitely part of being an American citizen.
Have you registered? Are you voting? Are you voting there or here?
I'm doing an absentee ballot for Ohio.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So definitely do that. There's one more thing I wanted to say regarding a storyline over the weekend, and it had to do with the sport of soccer.
You forgot it?
I think I did. But is there any storylines that you want to talk about?
Well, I know I mentioned it, but Bobby Wood had a brace, which was awesome. Weston McKennie scored his 2nd goal. He scored last week during the week in the Champions League, which was cool to see.
Absolutely.
Romain Gall continues to perform and score goals for Malmo. So it's an exciting time for U.S. men's national team players abroad. And I'm excited. I'm excited to be excited about the U.S. again. I mean, I'm not right now because Dave Sarakin's still our manager, but once qualifying starts to pick up, I'm looking forward to it. Have you remembered what you forgot, or no?
I'm just gonna talk about Roma because like that's always easy to do for me. But
honestly, do we need to talk anymore? It's been an hour.
Okay, yes, and here's why. Because there's a performance worth talking about midweek. Edin Dzeko scored a hat trick. I think Paulo Dybala scored a hat trick too, but Edin Dzeko's is way cooler because it was against Victoria Pilsen, the Czech champions.
Wait, did you pronounce it right?
Yes.
Okay, because remember we got a tweet about that.
We did. It was our proudest moment as a podcast. Not really. We interviewed Landon Donovan, episode number 60. Go check that out if you haven't already.
Are we gonna plug that in every episode?
I think we've plugged pretty much everything in this episode.
That's true. We have. What can we say? We're media geniuses, you know.
Yes.
Taking it to the next level.
Pioneers. We did podcasts before podcasts were cool.
Is this what it feels like to be on Barstool? God dang it. Okay, let's we don't want to do that, so let's bring it back in a little bit.
Right.
Let's reel it back in.
Anyways, I'm just glad that Roma. There was a point I think 2 weeks ago where Eusebio Di Francesco, our coach, certainly looked like he was going to be fired, but we're on 4 straight wins going into the international break, including that thrashing of Pilsen. So really excited about them. Watch out for them in the Champions League. I hear we did some good stuff last year. I don't know. I think we might have pulled off some kind of historical comeback. Roma have risen from their ruins. Manolas, the Greek god in Rome, kind of an iconic call. Anyways.
Manolas, Moustakas, Giannis. It's a great time to be a fan of Greek players.
Greece is a very interesting culture.
How do you know that?
I have Greek friends. I feel like it's different having a Greek friend than like any other European friend.
No, that's true.
Friend.
Actually, that is very true. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the whole Mediterranean culture. Greek food is really good. Okay. I just realized I'm very hungry, so
that's
we
a good
should
call.
get out of here.
Pizza?
Biryani.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
No, I was more asking if you wanted a pizza.
No, I want biryani.
If you wanted to share a pizza.
You're sure. We'll send it over from Madison.
Mom actually did that. She sent me cookies a couple days ago.
Yeah, I was right. Yeah, I was right next to her when she ordered them.
College is going great, guys, by the way.
Okay. Save it for the college podcast.
Yeah. We're so happy to be doing this again. We'll see you guys for the next episode recapping Colombia. Until then, we'll just give you our standard plug. Our email is SoccerBrothersPodcast@gmail.com. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, Podkicker, not yet Spotify. But check us out on all those places. Review and rate us. Our Twitter and Instagram handles are @SoccerBrosPod. We're also on Facebook. All in the description. We'll have timestamps too, right, Nihal? Linking
what?
when
No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't spring that on me. This kid, my brother, he doesn't do any of the editing.
Okay.
No. I just said you can't just say we're gonna have
I decide what we're gonna talk about.
Okay.
And
you know what? Since we're being so much less eclectic and we're just talking about 3 things, I think I can manage. I'll try to get timestamps in there. If I don't, it's 2 a.m. I'm about to eat. I'm sorry, guys, if those aren't in there. Also, Spotify, we've been talking about that for 2 years now, so I'm going to get on that and try to get us on Spotify.
Yeah, we definitely should. I've seen my friends listening to podcasts on Spotify, so I think it's a thing now.
Also, my computer's very old, and I'm having a hard time exporting videos right now, so actually not a hard time, it's impossible for me to export videos. So once I get my new computer this week, stuff will be uploaded onto the YouTube channel once again, so look out for that. With that, we'll see you guys next time for episode 4 of season 2 of the Soccer Brothers podcast. I don't know when season 3 is going to start, but season 2 is going great. Arlie, take us out.